smoothly for once.
We're trying to get everything set up here before we officially went live. Clicking in to the game number 1 on Kamchatka, the Germany and China matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this matchup goes. We haven't seen a lot of Germans at all, really, except for Soldier yesterday pulling them out. It feels like every civ's so balanced that you can honestly just play whatever you want, right? So.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Ulan nerf, and I think maybe people take buffs and nerfs almost a little too seriously. But nonetheless, we do have spawning in the top left of the map, in the color teal, playing Germany, Conqueror, and in the bottom right, in the color red, playing China, is Yurashic.
Yeah, exactly. The big question on my mind, at least, is how much has Conqueror practiced for this series? Because I know that he was playing a fair bit of Supremacy before, but lately I know he's been playing a lot of Treaty, and so I'm not sure necessarily that'll be in the best of form from what I've seen. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I think Yurashic is a little bit more of a known element here, right? He's known for playing China, Spain, maybe Russia a bit in there, and kind of doing these FF-oriented builds with China. So I think we'll know what we're going to see from him, but the question mark again is what will Dictator do in response to that?
Right, and that's one of the difficulties because there's also the 2v2 treaty tournament right now, and so playing in both of them, it's hard to practice in both areas.
Yeah, exactly. And I was actually in both as well, and I can't say it's hard to practice for both. Luckily, I got smurfed out of the tournament, but having to be in both would have been a challenge for sure.
So Germany picking up a nice 50 wood, which will help smooth his. Looks like he's going for just a house start here.
Yeah, exactly.
I
guess he
just
just
hard to go for a market start, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the crates he had, yeah, he had like it looks like he had the lowest food crates possible too, like one of the lowest crate spawns you can get for Germany. Not going to be easy for him. Meanwhile, China going for a TP straight on the opener, which is it's almost questionable if you want to do that on this map, just because there are 4 goats in the middle, and this does leave it wide open for Dictator to get those, which for China, every goat is just a huge help to them, right? So.
Right, and it looks like Conqueror knows this, and he's going to the middle of the map to both scout for treasures and pick up those goats. China is sending his disciple around to do as much scouting and goat picking as he can, but it's just not as effective as he would have with 2 scouts.
Yeah, and I think the big problem here, the biggest problem that I think is going to happen is just that Dictator didn't quite go straight for the goats, and so as a result, Yurashic not getting really punished for his scouting pattern. He's gotten to split the goats in the middle, which is great for him, and now he's going to be able to walk over here and just pick up this 40 wood. Overall, I think it's gone quite well for Yurashic.
That's very true.
What is Dictator doing? Finish it. He's getting owned by that tiger.
I don't know. Okay, so this is interesting, starting out TP with China. What are your thoughts on this?
I do think it's a good way to go. In particular, it's a little bit more almost of like an economic approach to take. Just even though you're down 1 vil, that what you're really down is actually the 20 housing space that you would like to have to kind of fill out your units. And so obviously the TP is stronger than the 1 vil that you lose, but where it really comes into place later. So more economic approach, I think it'll be good for him to kind of make that play. And it looks like we do have the Explorers getting into a fight here, and Yurashic does quite a nice job of kind of tracking down Explorers like this. I've always found it's kind of frustrating to play against him because if he sees your Explorer with his monk, he just kind of right-clicks on it, and so he might get away.
Yeah,
that was huge, getting away. Huge.
Be careful with that when you're playing China because, of course, the Disciple doesn't snare like the Explorer does, and so if you just task them both on there without careful micro, the German Explorer can get away. And so that means that, well, maybe Germany can now build the trading post in transition, unless China sort of keeps an eye on that.
Yeah,
it's still
exactly.
possible.
And I think China has to keep an eye on it. It looks like he might be trying to do that. We'll see what he does here. He can either, you know, fan out to the left and kind of scout down, or he can just park it here and wait. Knowing the German Explorer's on 50 HP, like you said, I would totally just wait there and see what happens. But either way, Dictator going for market before TP, so you know he's being smart about this, really.
But yeah, like you said, Yurashic is just going to post up on these 2 trading posts, and his Explorer is definitely going to get caught here. So then the question is, do you build one with the Settler Wagon?
Yeah, or do you just wait till you get Colonial? I think you have. What I would do, I think, is I think what you have to do. He's going to do a Settler Wagon, also a viable approach. But what you have, the other option is to just stand there with your Explorer, let it regen to say like 90 or 100 HP, and then just kind of when you get Colonial, build the TP instead.
Yeah. I might favor that approach using the Explorer, because the Settler Wagon, this is just so many builds per second, it seems like.
Yeah, the Settler Wagon does build like at the same rate as the Explorer, I believe, because the Settler Wagon builds at the rate of 3 villagers, which is what the Explorer does, right? So
yeah,
it's not terrible. Other civs definitely couldn't afford to do this because the vill is just so slow. But it looks like his Explorer's even able to get in there and kind of help him out a little bit.
yeah.
But Yurashic accomplished what he wanted to do here, right? I mean, it's you know, maybe 50 resources, maybe 100 resources worth of loss there, just because of good H1 control.
And it looks like he's going to pick up these goats on the southern part of the map. But
yeah.
German player is clicking up, and we'll see what he does with this 400 wood. I almost expect to see a stable and just to see some cavalry raids coming in, followed up by a semi-FF, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's dropping a stable there.
Yeah, that's very very standard play, and I agree. It's totally what we would expect to see. If you look over here, like Yurashic's already got this little wall segment up, and he's done this he's actually more careful than most players have done. He actually is kind of curling the walls on top of each other, so that way it's like really tightly closed. And like there's no way Wuhan's are going to be anywhere near his base now.
Yeah, I like this walling actually a lot. It's not something that I often see, but I think it can be really effective.
I mean, for the cost of 50 wood, he's going to never get garrisoned up. And Yurashic's kind of, you know, the people who play China a lot, you can tell, and these are the kind of things that they do, right? It's all about building placement in H1 and H2 with China. His Explorer could get caught out here by the Wuhan.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I think he might just be able to, like, maybe make one disciple and fight them. Kind of ridiculous. He's not focusing the disciple.
And he's, and it's also buying him a whole lot of time, right? He doesn't have to worry about 2 Ulans getting into his base at all. And
yeah,
that took off a lot of XP, or hit points. Like, a Garrison Town Center can, I think, kill that one weak Ulan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he should have just focused down the disciple there and picked up the Explorer. That was kind of a missed opportunity for Dictator. But, you know, as it stands, China's getting to do exactly what they want to do. There's not even any Wuhans out on the board. Maybe, yeah, I don't think Dictator's even going to make any, maybe, but let's see.
And
he's not. Yeah, he's not making any, which is probably smart at this point because the tower's coming up for Yurashic totally free.
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of have to kind of depend on German's strong fortress timing against China's strong fortress timing. And I'm looking at the Twitch chat here, H2O.
Yeah, I'm too loud.
It says, yeah, and I'm a little quieter, so.
Yeah, so let me, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. We switched so fast I didn't get to do a sound test. Hopefully this is better.
Yeah, that's, unfortunately I was dropping some frames right before we went live. So
yeah, so
we'll do a bit of a switch up, but
yeah, we'll sound test after this game too, real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I changed a little bit. Hopefully that's better.
All right, great.
And looks like we have Rax console, just the normal stuff. I'm glad that we're seeing the tower come back again because for a while people had kind of fallen back into the Flying Crow Wonder. And I'm not sure how good that is. But huge catcher on the bill, and he's going to be able to kill that if he sieges it.
He should siege it. Yep.
There he goes. That's actually a big pickup for him because remember we talked about that TP not being a house, right? And so you know he really needs wood to not be housed. You can see Yurashic on 31 out of 30 pop. He's actually going to be probably idled as town center because of this. Just as long as Dictator kind of realizes that, he can make a lot out of this.
Yeah, and you almost want the explorer here to be making disciples, or he might
He
be able
probably
to
is.
save it with
He is, yeah.
fight. So he does save the village, but I mean, he might be building 4 disciples later on, so it's not too bad. But like you said, it does cost him idle time in his TC.
Yeah, he's been idle this entire time, and he's still 31 out of 30. His shipment, he's probably sending. This also forces him into sending the Musket card as his first card, probably. But we'll see.
Meanwhile, Germany is just, he did a 3-seller wagon, 700 wood colonial build, so it didn't need to ship the 700 coin. And he does have 2 trading posts now, so I expect his fortress shipments to be rolling in here pretty nicely.
Yeah, but
see what sort of mass he can get.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's taken the right approach as well, right? He's gone for a little bit more. Everyone's kind of going more economic in this meta, and you can see it's coming down to like who can kind of squeeze out the more economic build without losing. Like normally we'd see 700 gold in the mix and Wuhans and all these semis, but people are just kind of skipping out on units now that I think players have just gotten better at defending is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Don't you think right now that that gate's really nice, but I think without that gate, Yurashic's actually really vulnerable right now to getting caught out.
Yeah, I agree, and he's I feel like Germany's composition is maybe a little better right now, but I mean, as I say this, China's just coming up with units from seemingly nowhere, right? 5-meter hammers coming in. Looks like he made a cab batch, or did he ship those?
He made a cab batch as well, yeah. And this is actually a horrible position now, right? Because he was in a good timing before, but now there's 9 cab instead of 0, right? So at this point, Yurashic's gonna, I guarantee you, slam into that. And
he really should.
He's not. I thought he was moving to do it. I mean, there's only 8 Wuhans there, 8 nerfed Wuhans.
Right.
So
exactly. But looks like he's going to be biding his time, which I think is okay, because China still has a bit of the timing to hit. But 9 Ulans coming in, that's just such a strong card. Veterancy upgrade has hit the Ulans, so even though their hit points have been nerfed, you just get so many of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ulan aren't bad. It's just the difference is, we've been talking about this, is that you can't just go pure Ulhan Skirm anymore. Like, you can't use Ulhan as your anti-cav, and that's what the change was aiming to do. So I feel like it was actually quite a nice change, even though people haven't quite figured out how to play Germany yet, I don't think.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, we'll see if that turns out to sort of bite Conqueror a bit in the back here. Because it looks like he is using his Ulans to rely upon anti-cav. And China's cav does especially well against cavalry because they have sort of that pseudo range attack, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. With the what it is that their cav kind of naturally synergize in the same way that like Jan Avis naturally synergizes, where Jans have less range but more HP, and Avis have a lot of range and lower HP. Those Iron Flail don't have the range, and they're basically just a giant meat shield. Like they're not very strong cav, but they keep the meteor hammers alive, and so you know what I mean. They kind of complement each other in that way. So, yeah, totally.
But I mean, we do see Germany though mixing in a couple war wagons here, so he's got the right idea. And it looks like both sides are just choosing to mass up as much as they can. So it looks like we'll have a pretty large deciding fight at some point in the game.
Yeah, and the problem here being though that these fights tend to go quite well for China. This is exactly what China wants to do. He'll wait on maybe one more shipment or 2 more shipments, and then he's literally just going to attack move. Like you'll see the muskets go into hand attack, and he's just going to attack move it out, and that's going to be it. 1,000 wood coming in for Conqueror. Maybe he needs to pull all of his vills off wood, otherwise that 1,000 wood's going to end up being squandered, and maybe he might even end up playing right into the hands of Yurashic, because you really don't want to attack right after you send 1k wood for sure. Like he needs to be getting an arsenal up and that sort of stuff instead of kind of moving out when he sends his most economic shipment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also kind of important to note that this whole time China has technically been an economic advantage with the porcelain tower representing 8 villagers.
Yeah.
And, and it shows in the military, China's slightly ahead, and like you said, these fights just sort of go well for China, and China's a very hard composition to micro against.
Yeah, and war wagons can't kite either, right? So
Yeah, and the explorer can always go cover mode and make more disciples and just all sorts of stuff that's hard to deal with.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that wood went so fast. I know I see him building a bunch more houses, but maybe
He's got
he's
a town
sold
center
some.
down here.
Ah, okay. He
Yeah.
definitely needs to fall back then. You know, there's no
Yeah.
reason. Like, look at all that cap. The good news is, though, I'm not sure that Yurashic expects anyone to actually make war wagons. And so you can see he's only built cav, right? Cav and the musket. So the war wagons will be quite effective in this fight, but here it comes, right? Just jamming it in there, and that's going
Great
to be...
positioning on that first cap.
Yeah. He's trying to hit and run with war wagons, which isn't going to happen. He's trying, though. I mean, he is getting a little bit of hit and run action there, but the meteor hammers with their range, like we suggested earlier, just there's just so many units.
I mean, 2 more war wagons come in, but yeah, those war wagons are
yeah, he just kind of has to fight at this point, stand and fight. The Explorer 2 in the front line somehow. More skirms coming too.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the military unit population graph, it's just been going in favor for China here.
Yeah, this is actually really good though. The trees are actually really helping Conqueror here, and this might be his best line to fight with. What's going to be the problem here is that when all the cav fade, it's just 50 skirms that are going to die for free.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, the war wagons are all caught off on the left side here, and the cav just get free range on all those skirmishes.
Yeah, if he gets away here though, he's got to get away.
He needs some more reinforcing war wagons. Oh, I don't know. I would have liked to see Yurashic pursue that.
Yeah, he should have pursued it.
That's all in all. It
Yeah.
didn't go that bad for Germany.
Yeah, it never does go all that bad for any civ until the cap kind of disappear. There's this thing that happens in Age of Empires where if your front line ends up actually getting totally removed, you end up losing the fight really cost effectively because you'll have like 40 skirms in the back that just cannot get away. Like right here, these like 30, 40 skirms are all just gonna die, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And Manchu coming out behind us too. Yeah, this is gonna get cleaned up super hard. And that's just the China attack move for you. Oh, Black Riders now! Oh man! And minutes!
I don't know.
It's a little too late, I'll give you that, but hey, it's not. It's changing from being a resigned situation to maybe we're still in this situation.
Yeah, and I think Germany can definitely stabilize off here.
Yeah,
Just the mansion
the problem is, look at where his villas are, right? I guess he does have a tower on the side gold mine. Maybe he's okay.
And I mean, with between the 2 mercenary shipments, the Manchu and the Black Riders, I think the Black Riders are the stronger shipment there. So
Yeah, totally. I mean, you'd much rather have Manchu or Black Riders than Manchu. They have more HP and more attack.
yeah.
And better animation.
Looks like we got 5 Ulans gonna try to come for a raid down here in the south of the map.
Yeah, and these villas in particular are totally raidable.
Yeah, especially by Ulans who just have such high DPS against villagers. I don't know. It wasn't a resigned situation like you said, like maybe we thought it was, but I still think China's in a very favorable position here. He's still ahead in recalculated economic position, or at least it's even now. But with that extra town center working for him, we'll see what Germany can do.
Looks like these Manchu are coming across as well. Gonna catch the Ulan raiding, and honestly, at this point, the map is just kind of you're actually kind of full map control because of that team cavalry attack. That makes me want to see attack. He didn't send cav combat, did he? Why would you send team cavalry attack instead of cav combat?
Maybe it's a misclick. I don't know.
I guess. Dang. Maybe he hasn't sent it yet. Okay. Either way, looks like we're just getting to the point where Yurashic's kind of continuing. It's all unit shipments, right? Now click on the Iron Troops. Now we got super longbows in the mix, and unfortunately, Germany not doing the same thing, right? So Germany's kind of trying to switch to some upgrades, but hand cavalry attack isn't going to help when you don't have any Ulans. So.
Exactly, and I mean, look at the military pop now. It's now 111 to 71, and like you said, you know, in that military population are these iron troops, which are just so strong against other light infantry. And
exactly. The only thing that really kills them is cannons, right? Because they're like longbows; they fire so fast. and they have 60 range resist, which is kind of disgusting actually.
They are so difficult to kill in just like a light infantry battle. And you know, of course, Germany is not a civ which has the 2 Falk shipment available to them. So this is going to be a very, very tough army for Germany to kill, and you know, barring some miracle, I don't see how he's going to be able to beat this.
Yeah, me neither. To be perfectly honest, this is going to be just kind of a face roll here, I think.
Yeah.
Like, oh, 1 musket down, but who cares, right? He still has almost all of his muskets as well from the beginning of the game.
And those are just such, you know, good units, you know, far better than a better musketeer, you know.
Yeah. Getting some nice picks out with the skirms here, but once the cab kind of forces this engage to happen, it's going to be really hard to get out of it. He needs to be able to find a way out. I guess the cab mass is a little bit thin. Maybe he can find a way out. The goons in War Wagon's hiding here. The skirmisher is poking as well, just trying to poke his way all the way back to this tower. 3 War Wagons in the back as well. Not sure how they're going to be able to get into this fight, but
yeah, not exactly where we want to see them reinforcing. You know, maybe this tower can serve for key unit shipment here.
Yeah, maybe it'll draw some shots or something to attack. Looks like the cab mass is totally thinned out though, and there's a raid down here that's going to be totally unnoticed, and like Dictator has to be watching this top fight.
Actually, yeah, I mean, if you look at the military populations, they're almost evened out now. But like you said, that raid is just, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, he's lost like 10 bills. Yeah. Well, look at all the skirms coming from the back. If Dictator had just seen the raid, I think he'd be totally fine here. Oh, look, he actually is pulling the cab off of the raid. That's interesting. Maybe he feels like this is a really dire situation.
Yeah.
This is kind of make or break, actually, for China. They're running low on resources on the map. How many iron troops are left? Yeah, there's still a lot of iron troops in the next turn.
And I mean, they're trying to keep this up and make this in a great spot. Cause I mean, 14 builds have now been lost, you know, in the raid in the south and up here in the north builds are sort of taking some shots, but so really, as long as China just doesn't move to this fight, it doesn't look like he's going to, he's going to pull away with it.
Yeah, he needed 5 Wuhans to come out of the stable at some point in this fight to deal with the iron troop. And now another unit shipment, right? So more flood of just junk units coming in. And look at Dictator, he's down to 31 bills, like you said.
Yeah, and I mean Germany is stockpiling 2 shipments, but I don't know what else he sends. I think he sent all of his units.
Yeah, he'd have to send. He doesn't even have the 8 Wuhan card, so he'd have to send Cav Combat for once. And
yeah,
he's on the plantation now too. You have to at least gamble on mills. I'm not sure what he does from here.
That's not a great transition.
He's not making units again for at least like 5 or 6 minutes, and that's going to be impossible to deal with this ball that way. China's getting a TC up.
Yeah, you know, for a moment there, it looked like Germany was, you know, okay, had sort of brought the game back to, you know, his side of the court, but the map presence that China has is really working into full advantage right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's 3 more gold mines and 3 more hunts on the map that are all Yurashics to take, so he's not milling for a while. Although I guess he just started to mill for some reason, but
I don't know. I guess he can just afford to right now, even though he's a hunt right here with those walking around.
Yeah, you could have just tossed those on the hunt.
Yeah.
It's okay to do a mill transition too. He's not the best, but he's in such a commanding lead at this point. He can just go 3 TC like full tree style boom if he wants to.
Mm-hmm. So if he lets the game go 2 treaty.
He also knows his TCs here. Yeah, you're right, exactly. But the thing is, the TC is going to be. He already knows the TC's here, so his mill is actually just like in the worst possible spot.
And garrison builds inside the town center, which is not really something to do with, you know, the entire army on top of it.
Yeah, he's gonna lose it for sure.
There were like 7 wagons or something like that in there. So it's
there's
make or break right here for him.
He's not gonna be able to do it either. There's no way. He's got a lot of war wagons, but war wagons don't do very well against iron troop, unfortunately.
They're one of those mercenaries that you send and just never so
Jaeger,
hard to target down.
yeah. Jaegers would do quite well against them. Jaegers also have extra range resist. It's not quite the 60, but Iron Troop also have very low HP too, right? For a mercenary.
I mean, still, you know, he's fighting this battle with half his army and still coming out okay. Meanwhile, his cav is just sieging the town center and getting ready to catch all the villagers.
Yeah. There it goes. And like you said, there's 9 villagers in there. Mixture of settler wagons and villas, so even more than that.
Yep, and there it is, GG being called. So Yurashic is taking the first game in this best of 5 in the round of 32. So
yeah, man. Another long game. Every game we've had today and yesterday was just so long. This one went to Mills too.
Yeah.
And I think you pointed this out in the military population line. If you look at that first fight, it went really poorly for Dictator. Better than we had thought. I mean, he got away before all the skirms dropped off, but still quite a poor fight for him. The second fight, though, man, look at that.
That is, you don't normally see that. I mean, you know, looks like Dictator had like, you know, 2/3 the army pop and still came out relatively even at the end of it all, sort of.
He was arguably back in the game at that point. Had he not, the problem is, you know, you got to also look at the villager population during that time, and you see it tanked from 56 to 31, right? So 25 bills also were lost as a part of that exchange. All right, I'm going out to the next game, I think.
Yep, me too.
What do you think we're going to see in the next game here?
Let's see, what's the map for the next game?
The next map is Klondike, which I've been enjoying quite a bit as a side note. But
I do too. I think it's a good map. So I think you're definitely going to want to go with civs that can sort of utilize that 5 TP route. That seems to be, at least what we've seen in the tournament, sort of the way to go. Whether that's, you know, Port in Spain immediately comes to mind. And, you know, Yurashic is very familiar with Spain.
Yep.
So we might see him pull it out here.
I feel like we might see I feel like you're right. Yurashic, Spain, or Port is very likely. I think people also feel like because it's a low hunt map and kind of an awkward, it's got this awkward flow to it where you kind of want to play in that side by the TPs, but it's hard to get there from your base. You know, Russia also has been making an appearance on this map.
That'd be interesting too. Yeah, if I remember right, I think Sampu played Russia on this map against Jerome. It's definitely a difficult choice to make for Yurashic, knowing that once you do choose a Civ, you're locked in for that game, and so Conqueror can choose whatever he wants, you know, whatever he thinks will do best against it. So you have to, there's a lot of strategy that goes into the game even before the game starts. But, you know, I'm not too familiar with civilizations that Conqueror or Dictator normally plays.
Yeah.
And he's saying he doesn't know the map, so.
Yeah, which that's to be expected. Klondike's a relatively new map, and it's also a map that people haven't played. And it's also one of our kind of, like, you know, there's the standard, like, Arkansas, Kamchatka, those type of maps. This is one of the maps where you have to kind of play a little bit different from what we would call standard in the community, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's a more unique one. But I like the presence of unique maps in the tournament, especially as we get up here to like the round of 32, where it's a best of 5. Sort of more unique maps like this, and where players are sort of pushed out of their comfortable Civ pools. It leads for some interesting game dynamics.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it does, and the other thing is, like, it kind of flushes out the depth of the game more. I mean, like it's one. There's one style of play, which is playing on those standard maps, but then there's maps like this where you just have to play a different style in a different way, and I think people a lot of times get frustrated or unhappy about that, but it's not a bad thing to have to actually play this game a couple different styles. I mean, if every single game was, if you go back to the last patch, like one TP France semi FFs and one TP German semi FFs on maps where you like can only get one TP and you have perfect hunts and everything like that, the game would just kind of get old, right? So.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And once again, we're just previewing the map here for those just joining.
How's it going, nerds?
Familiar. Hey.
Hello.
I was wondering if you got the messages about turning SirCallen up a little bit.
I did. Do I need to turn it up again?
Well, no one's going to know until 3 minutes' time, but it's probably fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh, I turned him up like in the beginning, in the middle of the German game. Was that not enough?
I don't think so, then.
All right, yeah. I'll adjust it again.
All right, well.
Thank you.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Yeah, okay, so he's seen the map now. Hopefully that will go better for him.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, like you said, a lot of the resources and hunts are in this sort of right side of the map with the TPs. But that can also sort of leave an opening to go straight to the enemy's base, too, at times. Just an interesting map. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. And the other thing is the rush distance is, for an aggressive map, the rush distance is super long.
Yeah, which makes something like ATP or trade route play even more viable.
Yeah, the ATPs, not only do they defend your TPs, but they also defend all your bills trying to gather on the half of the map, so.
Hopefully he's been thinking this whole time. Yurashic is coming in with some introspective commentary here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. As we expected, the Spain coming out.
Yep, there he is.
I wonder what dictator will do. France.
France. That was a pretty quick pick.
Yeah, Mito and myself played this matchup quite a bit. Not during this tournament, but when the map first came out, like before the patch came out, and it seemed quite hard for France to do much. So I can't imagine what they'll do without 100 food crate.
Right. They just seem a little slower, but a lot of people are also saying France plays roughly the same if you have a fortress agenda, which it looks like this game might go to. But if France chooses to semi-FF, it sort of gives Spain free reign of the TPs, and just letting someone have the trading route is not really a great idea on a 5 TP map like this. So
yeah, the other thing though is I've noticed Yurashic doesn't always upgrade his trading posts. Like that, I'm thinking back specifically to a game on Mendocino he played in SmackDown, I think it was. He built all 4 TPs with ATP and then didn't upgrade them and just like went for the. Like, his style is typically, like, click all the unit shipments I can possibly click in Fortress Age, just kind of, and then jam it in there. Those are, like, the 2 things Yurashic is very strong at. And so, I'm not sure that he's necessarily the best suited player to do the stagecoach, like, skirm goon, like, slowly creep the map control kind of style with Spain. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what's going to happen this game, but I'm always open to being wrong. Maybe he will stagecoach and play that more passive style, but...
Definitely see how it goes. Both players are here starting with a 200 wood start, so you almost want to see if both of them will just go build an immediate TP. Or if you do have an ATP agenda, do you think it's better to wait until you ship the card, or?
Yeah, I wait as Spain until I ship the cards. So what I would do when I see the 200 wood start, use hold the 100 wood. It's actually bad for Spain, ironically, even though they want TPs, because what it does is it lets France get their TP, but it doesn't let you get yours, and that's unfortunate, right? So Spain needs to use that time while France is building a TP to go out there and creep as many treasures as he can. You know, get these. There's 240 woods. I see 440 woods. Right? 1, 2, 3. 340 woods. Yeah, there's 340 woods on Spain's half of the map. So he needs to get out there and pick those up as fast as possible, both for the experience and so that way he can start the TPs rolling.
Yeah, and it looks like he's doing just that. So very good play by Yurashic here. You know, already spotting a 40 wood treasure. We're just 40 seconds into the game, and meanwhile France's TP is only halfway built.
Yep, and that's the advantage that you get, right? I mean, if you look at, there's also what is that, 120 coin around. That's going to take another 40 seconds or so to pick up, right? So Yurashic's going to get these additional 2 wood treasures without any contention during this time. Very likely will.
And that's another interesting part of this map is that every single treasure on here is classified as like tier 1 or whatever the lowest tier is.
Yep, tier 1.
So that you know, like we said, 40 wood is probably the best treasure on this map, and it's still just 40 wood. But there are a lot of them here. And
the other thing about that is it leads to, on this map, unlike Cascade Range where tier 1 beavers are 10, 20, 30 coin, here tier 1 beavers are 30, 40, 50 coin. And what ends up happening is civs that normally have no coin in transition and don't mind anything like that will end up having access to 200 to 250 coin potentially through these treasures. And so you end up seeing there's a lot of different builds you can do just because of that alone that are kind of exciting to see.
That is interesting, yeah. And it looks like Spain is choosing here to build an early trading post.
TP for Spain, no ATP coming out. Maybe it will. Like I said, Yurashic, in my opinion, he does not play the Spain at all the way I do. So to say that there's a way, to say that Spain has a clear advantage on this map is only if you were to play it my way, at least that I know of. I don't know what's going to happen with it, just like a regular old Spain FF with unit shipments.
Yeah, you might just opt for the more traditional way of just 1 TP.
There's going to be a tower right here, for sure.
Just right on the edge of France's base, just trying to click as many shipments and win. Click shipments, win.
That's what I fully expect, and I guarantee you, I haven't opened Yurashic's deck yet, but if I do, I bet you there's 5 Lancer, 4 Lancer in there at a minimum. Yeah, look, exactly. I call this the PR30 Spain deck, where you just don't have any upgrade cards and you've got every unit shipment in the game. It's gonna be.
Maybe I'll make that my Spain deck then, and then I'll be PR30.
I should have picked Spain so I could show, because I could show. I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna pick the Civ that they're playing, so I can also show other options for decks while we're playing. But either way, we now know exactly what's coming. There's going to be a tower, either here or here, somewhere really aggressive, and we're going to see a ton of unit shipments off of 1 TP. Maybe not even 5 bill in transition. Who knows? He might skip that.
Who knows? He did ship ATP, but like you said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he just keeps them unupgraded and just gets the XP boost for just the insane amount of unit shipments.
Yep, and it's going to be just like that Mendocino game. I think it's going to be either 3 or 4 TPs. We'll have to see. And the fact that he's on food is either a slight misstep or he's kind of indicating that he is going up with that tower. And on this map, and with that style that he's going for, it makes sense, right? The rush distance, like we said, is so far that if you had to ship Falconets out of here, your rush is maybe a minute or a minute and a half later. Your pressure is going to come in.
Yeah, and Yurashic has played on this map a fair amount of times, I think, from watching his live stream, and so I think he recognizes this. And, if you look at his deer herd, though, close to his PC, it's not, there are a lot of dead animals here.
Yeah, so they're just not moving for him.
Yeah, I'd maybe like to see another herd pulled in here, but it'll probably be enough to get him pulled up. Yeah. But I mean, every single deer, with the exception of 1, is so far away from this town center.
Yeah. And what is Dictator going to do to respond to this? That's the question. I once again, just like the last game, Yurashic, to me at least, is relatively predictable, but I don't really know what Dictator is going to do. I haven't seen him play enough. Stable coming down, looks like a catch semi maybe in the order for him. And
But,
as we said, tower coming out for Yurashic. It's running straight across the map.
Yeah, and with this rush distance so large, like you've been mentioning, I don't know whether these cav are even going to get here in time to slow down his age up at all.
Yeah, would be nice is if he could take out the tower and jeez, that is unreal.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. That was much more appropriate.
Okay.
But if he's able to kill the tower with the rush distance as long as it is, it does buy him a minute and a half. And so maybe he is going musket as well though. Rack's coming out. We'll see if he's going to actually make him. He's house at the moment, so we'll have to give it a second. But looks like it might just be a Samwise build with Muskas. Yeah, and I like that on this map just because, like we said, it buys you that extra minute and a half to delay the Falcons from rolling into your base. And there's no clock at all, really, because these are just regular old TPs. And, I mean, sure, there's 4 of them, but they're not upgraded, right? So.
Yeah, and okay, I don't know if your taunt's enabled or not, but taunt 14 says upgrade that trade route, so.
No. Yeah, he's going to upgrade it now, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. He doesn't even have the food yet to do it, though.
That's quite funny. Maybe he's playing a little mind games. I mean, he's already clicked up, but I mean, I think he's going to upgrade it as soon as he gets his food here. So I mean, France has scouted this tower.
Yeah, he should just park it underneath the tower. The Hussar, like all that other good stuff, I would just kill the tower.
Yeah.
And
it looks like Yurashic's Explorer is in here to maybe provide some dodge defense at the tower.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
This Rack's position is so questionable. I would love to see the Cav turn around and just get in there.
Yeah. I might go with the Racks though, but I mean, he can make some war dogs though right now against just these 5 muskets. I think that might be smart.
What's going to end up happening is once the Cav raids, it will come up this way, for sure.
Yeah, true. Yurashic is pulling his builds back. He's been very good about raids, you know, this game and all the last games too. And he's using his Explorer nicely to poke in at these musketeers.
Yep. He killed it. It goes down though.
Yeah.
He's got 5 muskets on the way, but ooh, these Cav are just confusing me. They had me baited for a second. Honestly, if they showed their face at the tower when the muskets are there, it would be a huge deal. Yurashic about to hit Fortress, 5 muskets about to pop. There's going to be 4 Cav coming out of the tower, I would imagine. Maybe 8 pike. Let's see. He may have tried to dictate or may have tried to do too many things at once. It's like down to the second.
Oh, this tower is gonna stay up, and he's gonna get it.
Oh, he's got to finish it. Don't turn. You have to finish the tower. Oh my god.
Oh my god. The timing on that. So
it's just critical.
140 hit points.
Yep, and that's the difference between shipments flooding in, the 2 Falcons walking right into his base and not. And I think that hold, based on the way the Cav's going, I think that might actually be enough just to lock Dictator right out of the game. But we'll see.
I mean, these Hussar, they've killed 2 bills now, but just until then they hadn't killed any. And so if they would have been at this tower and taken it down instead, it seems just way more beneficial for France. So I mean, Conqueror is aging, but you know, to what avail?
Yeah.
Spain is just gonna flood his base with shipments here.
And once the 2 Falcons come out, the tower can even die and serve its purpose, because the next shipments are going to be all Lancers and units of that sort. The Minutemen are getting some nice volleys out there on the Cav. TC fire as well coming in. 12 Pike do not come out of the tower, instead they come back here to defend against a raid, which is confusing to me. Had 2 Falcons come out of the tower and rolled up here, that would have been pretty much the game.
Yeah, I don't like the 12 pikes at the town center, especially because there's only 2 Huss here, right? You have to think, you know, meleeing some villagers and some TC fire could clean that up as well. Yeah,
but maybe he just thinks he's in no hurry, because if you look at the map, he's gotten his opponent onto berries. He's kind of in no rush to end the game at this point. He can just wait for the 2 more unit shipments that he's got in queue to flood out.
Yeah, and I mean 5 Dragoons coming in here for France, but I just don't know how he's going to deal with
he's got goons in queue too.
Yeah.
I mean,
enough skirms coming in here for Spain, so that's going to especially help clean up these goons.
Yeah, Spain has himself so housed he can't even afford to make skirms because he's just got so many unit shipments coming.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's the 2 Falcons at his base anyway, so apparently he used to have the timing, he used to have the extra time for free.
And he can't even really afford to repair this outpost, so it's still sitting at 140.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. It's totally served its purpose.
There were the 2 raiding huts were attacking an ATP trading post for a while, and it managed to pick off one of them.
Ooh.
So meanwhile, it's just sort of sitting back there.
Yeah, getting like 200 damage on it. And here we go. The rollout's coming. 5 Lancers as well.
Yep.
That's weird. Those also came from the town center. 8 skirms coming out. There's really not a lot of skirmishers here either for Yurashic, so it's gonna have to be just kind of slam it in there. The cannons are actually his skirms basically. Like the cannons will be firing on the goons, and they do pretty good damage to goons, right? So.
Yeah. You almost have to wonder if France doesn't upgrade his CDBs right now, the great coat and the damage one.
Yeah, he doesn't have blunderbuss yet. He has the great coat.
Yeah. He and maybe try to melee the Falcons. He needs to get some really nice positioning in this army.
Yeah, this is basically just a vanilla game. Like this is exactly what vanilla Spain looks like.
Just with 3 extra TPs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the total units sent, it's just Spain is ahead by 3.
He sent 15 rods, 12 pikes, 5 lancers, and 2 cows.
Yeah. And it looks like he's just gonna take down this town center, and I don't know what Dictator can do about it. Looks like he's seen now
He's gotta get his vills in the mix, I guess.
Yeah.
As we said, those cannonballs hitting the goons quite hard.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they did that well against them.
It's not that they just do so much damage, right, in a single shot. It's 100 damage, right? So, yeah, so they just do damage, right? Even though that's not the right counter. Ooh, the Falcons, are they gonna get it? Are they gonna get the shot up? Fire, fire! Oh, perfect shot. This is actually a big opportunity here. It's gonna come down to whether or not the Falcons can win, and they are winning. He's won the Falcon fight, and his CDB are not dead yet. He's trying so hard to get the trade. He got the trade. Both Falcons still up, and all is still there. They're gonna be able to get free reign on all these Rattleras. Looking at the Vill count, it's still a lead in Vills for Dictator, and he has just won this fight. Incredible cannon control from Dictator. Yeah, just incredibly well done.
The treaty artillery micro may be showing itself a little there.
Yeah, and you could see it too. He was manually kind of walking him around. And this is why I said that style of just sending shipments, it's a lot riskier. I mean, all it takes is one event like that, and now all of a sudden he's economically out of the game, right? Like,
and I mean, how many more unit shipments does Spain have that are?
He's got 3 more: 5 Huss, 4 Lancer, and does he have 10? He probably doesn't even have 10 Pike. There's no room. 10 Pike, yeah. So 5 Huss, 10 Pike, 4 Lancer are still coming, and he's gonna one-shot that one-shot that tower, I guess.
Tower.
Yeah.
Which will actually give him like sort of a huge breath of fresh air in terms of map control.
Yeah, and had he been able to keep that up too, he could also pop out his 5 cap shipment that's on the way. The cannonball reviving the Explorer, which is nice. I think Dictator needs to slow his roll here. He needs more goons because there's still 2 cap shipments that could come ruin his day with the Rattleras in the mix as well.
Yeah, and rods are actually sort of something that don't do that bad against goons if you can get them in.
Yeah,
rods are an interesting unit in general. Something that I find hard to play against, just because they're so fast.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, but the thing is, these Falcons are also low HP, so what's going to happen here, there's going to be a huge engage coming with 5 rods probably coming out of that. Let's see units in the queue. He's got skirms on the way from the tower, but he's going to engage here, and these Falcons are his big lead. Ooh, great cannonball shot. And he's microing them back in between. He's getting running with them, which is going to buy him off the tree positioning too. Oh, look at this block. The Cav are not going to be able to get both. I think both the cannon, one cannon will definitely lift this, I think.
Oh, that cannon needs to shoot. Oh. But I mean,
it's okay.
Clean up these rods,
yeah. I think he's survived.
I mean, he's okay, but I don't think he's a skirmish damage to put him in.
Yeah, but as we said, the Spain player is running out of shipments fast, and that was
Yeah.
he's only got 2
And-
more left. 4 rod or 4 lancer, 10 pike.
And France is ahead in eco right now, and you kind of have to wonder, when Spain was aging, he had that moment where he had 200 food and 200 wood macroed. If he would have just upgraded Stagecoach and had Stagecoach this entire time, imagine the eco boost he'd have right now.
Yep, that's what I was saying. I know Spain wins this matchup super hard, but I don't think Yurashic's going to do what he needs to do to actually make that happen. However, Dictator maybe not realizing 4 Lancers probably on the way. We did see a shipment pop, and if he doesn't get out of here right now, he's actually in a really risky timing. He's got Cuirassiers in the queue. I'm waiting for those Lancers to come out.
The Cuirassiers, if he gets enough of them, might do pretty well against that.
10 pikemen was the choice, so Dictator does have time now, which is good for him. I mean, sure, those will deal with the Cuirassiers a little bit, but you will see a 3 Cuirassier card, and then that's a pretty strong pop of units.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it looks like he's about 15 skirms here. Those will just shred H2 pikemen.
He still has that 1 Hussar left at half HP too. I wonder if he had kept both those Hussars alive at full HP, if they could have maybe impacted the fight.
I don't know. 5 rods coming out, so I don't know if we should put
I like this.
Okay. Oh, well, that's fun about it. He's got to be careful because, he's not winning the skirm battle here.
Yeah, the thing is, the Kurds are drawing some shots, and he's getting to spread. This is like when you're playing against Longbow Pike or something with Skirm Pet and Skirm Soar. It's a really good composition for you to be the Yeah. See, there's no way he can ever engage, and now he can just turn and fight. Like right now, he can come back through the gap in the racks and just fight.
Yeah.
And you can see how cost effective this has been. Great control from Dictator.
7 pikemen are not going to do much.
Okay, he's just gonna fight it now too.
Yeah.
And I think this is game. Right here, this should clean him out. There's not even a shipment ready yet. After this fight, there might be one, but that's not gonna be enough.
And the skirm's popping, which is
Well
there it
played.
is.
There it is. Good game. Well played by Dictator for sure.
Yeah, Dictator is.
Sorry, we're both so excited. That hold under the town center was just unbelievable, right? That's a highlight moment for sure. Interjection. If you're taking notes for highlights, this is the one to do.
Honestly, if Interjection would have been casting that would have been something else. That hold under the TC was one of the more insane things I've ever seen watching Age of Empires. And he managed to snowball it into a victory, tying the series up 1-1.
Look at the military graph. Oh my gosh. 34 pop to 60. And he loses 10 pop total, and he kills 40 pop. That is just, Dictator made several questionable decisions around the tower and all that, but he just turned it all around with those 2 Falcons, in my opinion. And if you look at the villager population, he only lost 6 villas, which put him at level. Which put him, quite frankly, only a few villas ahead of Spain. But yeah. I mean, and we also have to point out, as you said, there's still no Stagecoach, so that's what happens, I guess, when you don't, because there's no way to get out a cab. He just kind of has to make only skirms and unit shipments, and 10 pikes just isn't a very good card. So.
Right. I mean, a naked FF Spain eco is never not very good, and when he does run out of those shipments, there's just not much left to him. So I mean, great game by Dictator there. Really impressive hold.
Yep, the hold was just unbelievable.
That was a joy to watch, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Manchuria. And going for Brit on Manchuria. Brit's always a solid pick. You're a resident Brit player. You probably know more of the builds than I do at this point.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, Brits are my love child, I guess. I really enjoy seeing them played in the tournament, and I'm interested to see what Dictator does, or what he chooses to do. But first, we'll see what Yurashic chooses as a civ. And I don't know. I don't really think many civs counter Brits, but who do you think does well against them at least?
I think, it's a good question. I think, first of all, I'd say it's very map dependent. So let's see, Manchuria. What would I play into Brit? I think I'd play Port into Brit on this map. I think I'd probably also play Dutch maybe into Brit or Spain into Brit. Those can eco civs do well.
Yeah.
I think Russia and Auto may do like better versus Brit than other civs do. And yet, just gonna go for what do you think it's gonna be? What do you think he's gonna do?
I mean, is Auto? I'm gonna guess. I guess they really have only two options: Jan Avis, or does the FF with the Jan Falk MAM timing.
Yeah, and I think what it's going to be.
The FF is the better option. I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's going to FF and send a lot of shipments. Keeping theme from the first two games, right? So I think what we're going to see is only Jan ship stuff, like only Jan ship Falk, only Jan ship Cav, and then jam it in there. And it's going to be totally on Dictator and his control to just kind of weather the storm again, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's hard as Brit because, when you're facing a civ like Auto, which is going to try to hit you with this sort of early fortress timing, and as a civilization without a fast aging politician, you're sort of stuck in this middle ground where you sort of want to age to get the better units and compete, but you can't really afford to. So I don't know if we'll just see him stay age 2. I think that might be an option.
Yeah, I was thinking the opposite, actually. I was thinking what he might do is try to go for, like getting to Fortress relatively quickly with maybe one of these TPs back here. And then Brit does have quite a few shipments available to them, right?
Yeah, I could see that as well. I know Mido was talking to me about a build that he's, that maybe, he was trying out where he ships 5 villagers first in age 2, and then 700 wood and then 700 coin. And so, the idea is just to send 700 coin relatively early and age up off of that with like sort of a TP made in transition. So yeah, I mean, like you said, that could also be another good option.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can do that too, and that's what I'm expecting is something along those lines. Probably not 5 bill first, but maybe like 700, 600, 700 or something like that is what I would expect.
Yeah. Ottoman's going for the early trading post, completely standard. Of course, they always start with extra wood. The developers intended to go into a mosque, but mosques are just not that good. Trading posts are good. So.
Yeah, you should have seen what the mosque at one point was. I think the mosque used to cost, like churches in general, used to cost 200 wood or 250 wood, and it also used to not provide a passive experience trickle, and the text used to be way worse. So like everything about them used to be way worse. Like you were not built. Basically, the other thing was though your Jans and your Avis were better, right? So at that point in time, you were basically you never needed more than 25 bills, and you were just making only Jans and just running around, and they were unkillable.
Oh, what an interesting civ. The history of the Ottoman civilization and Age of Empires is an interesting one, with its changes in the EP too as well. And I also think they got some interesting reworks in like the fan patch a while ago.
Yeah, in the fan patch and even in the like robot patches as well. They got the mosque overhaul kind of happened. They've been one of those civs where they've always been like the second best or third best civ. Like at any point in time when there was that one glaringly strong civ, you could probably always still just pull out Jan Avis and beat everyone else. Like and with relative ease, like mechanically, they're just, to be perfectly honest, not the most challenging civ to play. I mean, if we could view lock on Yurashic right now, he's kind of just sitting there, right? I mean, there's not the bills are training themselves. Like he's built his house. He's eating. I like that he's eating the cows early too. Maybe a little bit. Oh no, not too early. As you can see, ridiculous. He's going to be clicking up at 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yeah, and that's something Ottoman can afford, right? Because they maybe the viewers who don't know, they produce their villagers for free and automatically, and it still happens while they age up. So
yes, I was going to say that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, they can click up at any time they want, and so because they do get an early trading post, they're going to get their second shipment very early. So aging up early is actually super beneficial for them.
Yep, and there's times where you'll hit Colonial as the Ottoman players clicking to Fortress because of these dynamics. I'm probably not going to see it this game because we are chopping for a second TP here, which is fine. But you can get up super fast with Ottoman, and you lose nothing for doing it, as you said. which is another reason why the FF is just so strong, and why you don't even want to age up fast as auto, because one of the big benefits of aging up fast is that you get to make 2 more builds because of the TC not being locked up, but here you just don't care. You'd rather just get out 4 Huss on the age up and kind of have that time to stack some resources. You can even train Jans. You don't even get new units when you age up, so you just train Jans in transition too. And all you really get from aging is your shipments. So Ottoman just really geared. They're really well, coincidentally almost, really well designed for the slow age up unit shipment FF style of play.
Yeah, it's one of the rare times where maybe where the not aging up fast is not just straight bad.
Yep.
But I mean, it looks like in transition, Brit is doing normal things. All villagers on wood, just about all villagers, and just building manors.
Gangsta and the market upgrades are already in, which is nice to have. You know, and you probably know this as well, but sometimes you just can't get Gangsta or a market early enough to make it worth getting Gangsta at all. So it's always nice when you're able to squeeze it in there. Just kind of an extra tech you'll have under your belt the whole time.
Yeah, and if you choose to play for this sort of more eco style, if he sees that Ottoman's going for this FF and he wants to squeeze in more manors, you know, Gangsta is really super beneficial for that. Only costing 100 food, it's such a cheap improvement. And he is aging up with Tower and 200 gold and going to be dropping a stable. So I think every single one of these games we've seen Dictator just drop an immediate stable and just sort of go for this this sort of cab rating presence.
Looks like not going to be FF from Yurashic. I think this is going to be Stagecoach Jan Avis or Stagecoach Jan something. But I'm glad that we're going to see that, because it's better for him to, you know, as I said, for me at least, he's been always a relatively predictable player, which kind of gives an advantage to his opponents. So switching it up with Jan Avis is going to be a nice touch, I think, here. And maybe he'll be able to transition that into Fortress later.
And this is something that Dictator might be able to recognize if he looks at Yurashic's deck. Normally you don't see this many Abyss cards if an Ottoman player decides to not do Jan Abyss, but it could also be in his like sort of just standard deck. But I think you definitely have to be wary of some sort of Jan Abyss threat. And I'd like to maybe see his Explorer go out here and scout, because I don't think he's scouted yet, the forward base from Ottoman.
Yeah, and also it would be nice for him to scout this out, because there is a hunt, 60 food and a cow, which, you know, all that basically just kind of builds into a little bit of a food advantage for him. Unfortunately, this hunt has gotten a little bit away in a kind of precarious direction, and that's going to matter in about a minute or two when we get to the point where the Jans and the Abyss are out on the field, and he's kind of going to have to play that run around because I can't fight you game with the Cav. So
yeah.
I do like the tower positioning, though.
I like it as well. And looks like the first 5 Jans Yurashic made are coming back to defend against these 3 Huss that he scouted from the stable. So not an all-in rush, right?
That's the Stagecoach kicking in too. What I'm gonna guess is gonna happen here is what we're gonna see is like a what I would call a mid-game timing. He's gonna basically avoid raids right now. You know, great game positioning here as well by Yurashic. And then eventually we're gonna see a 3 Hussar shipment, which is gonna trigger the go. And the purpose of the 3 Hussars is to basically do the jam it all in there. I've said that a lot. That's very much Yurashic's style, but it's, you know, basically where you kind of snare their units and you run all of your like muskets and Avis up real close and force this engagement that you just cannot get out of, and the engagement just goes brutally for you because they have more stuff than you. So it's a matter of when are we going to see that? Maybe my guess would be that we're going to see that as the next card. So when this next shipment triggers for Yurashic, it's going to be probably 3 Huss, and that timing will hit.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and that might do very well against what Conqueror has. He's now just laying down a second barracks. I don't know. I'm interested to see. Well, I guess we're going to see units in queue. Not training anything yet, but I'm wondering if he'll go for longbow or musketeers. And I like to see longbow against Abyss, just because the extra range and just their high damage can sort of pick them off. Because Abyss are just such a strong unit, right? But he did make a batch of 5 musketeers.
Yeah, and if he does go for the longbow and Hussar kind of timing, or longbow and Hussar, and they get caught out of position, that 3 Hussar card may be very strong.
True.
I'm not sure if it'll come right now though. Maybe it is one more shipment away. His mass is kind of not as big as I thought it would be yet. Maybe with 10 more units coming out, he probably gets out 5 Jans, 5 Abyss here, right?
Yeah, I think so, especially with 600 gold coming in earlier.
Yeah, if it doesn't come soon, it's going to be a problem because I mean, Dictator just won 5 bill as well, and he's at a more vulnerable point in his build. And he, as you mentioned, he doesn't have any longbow out yet. He may not even make them um, at all. Dictator pushing out maybe a little bit. Yeah, he still doesn't
really
know.
want to see this herded. I mean, yeah, he just doesn't know it's there, but I mean, he's already on this hunt up here.
Here it is. And Dictator may be making the
Okay.
biggest mistake of the game here by trying to leave his base
Pushing out?
now. Yeah, this is
Ooh.
like he just like if you knew, like I said, if you knew it was coming, you'd play totally differently. But this might actually end up being like a sandwich opportunity for him now. He's going to see the army. We'll see how Dictator decides to play this off. Like now he's going to see the Avis.
See how he responds. I mean, those Hussars, they aren't coming back this soon.
Yeah. The thing is, though, these 3 Hussar are like the centerpiece of this push. And so if he's able to kind of kill those Hussar right now, oh man.
Oh, got away.
2 more muskets going down, yeah. And those, like I said, those Hussar are really the centerpiece of the push, just being able to force the engage. So every bit of HP on them counts.
Yeah, this is an interesting sort of battle location.
Dictator knows it. He's gonna run. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
He's running. He's deleting his cows because he knows it's
needs
like
to move
the
these
game's
cows.
being decided now. Yeah. He's got great
And
cut on
he
him.
really wants to get closer to his town center just for the Minutemen pop, I feel. Especially because Minutemen do so well against Avis, right? Because they are classified as artillery units.
Yep, and again, 700 gold hitting too. So right now, Dictator is about to bolster really hard. He's going to get out, probably 15, 20 units at a time here, population-wise.
Yeah, the thing is with, besides those deleted yaks, he doesn't have any food presence right now.
Yeah, because he doesn't know about that hunt. Yeah, exactly.
And so as a result, he's just really mismacroed with the 700 coin and just no food. And that's a really tough position to be in as Brits.
I wonder if this little cow out here is going to give him an idea. I hope it does, because for his sake, it would be really sad for him to get forced into a bad timing just because of that.
Yeah, I know.
It would be really nice if he could get musket attack in here or cav HP, one of those 2 cards before he fights.
Would do really well.
Yeah, because Jans just don't really do that well against cav. Is he gonna scout it? He's gonna definitely shoot this animal and take it at some point, but he's just gotta be so efficient here. I hope he's not chopping for mills. He's gonna fight now. These houses may not play to his. Oh, this engage is gonna be so tough.
Oh.
He's taking it though. I think it's the right call because he thinks he's out of hunt, and all the Jans is going into an attack, and just so expensive. And now the Hussar are able to come in and prevent the runaway, the retreat.
Meanwhile, there's like 15 Jans just doing so much DPS against these musketeers. I mean, yes, they are overkilling them, but they're Avis are a good unit, even with their rate of fire nerf. And Minutemen are being called, so we'll see how this micro comes here for.
Yeah, they do get a bonus against the Avis, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Jans are just too tanky.
I don't think so either.
These guys just kind of stand and fight for Jans and hope they can thin them out a little bit, but.
And all the Hussar are already gone, and now there's zero way to deal with it. Yep. And
good game.
There we saw the 100 area attack on the Avis come into play.
Yeah, well autoed.
That cleans up the fight. So I mean, GG. Game number 3 here, going to Yurashic. He now holds a 2-1 game lead. Playing the Ottomans and showing their age 2 strengths yet, even with Avis rate of fire nerf.
Yep, and there's just a severe lack of longbow, as you pointed out, in that situation. He had no way of... Because, like you said, if the longbow could have been standing there just kind of firing, it would force Yurashic to engage a bit more, and that's really where those Hussar were kind of meant to do, was force the engage on longbows. But when Yurashic didn't see any longbow, I guess he was not really in any hurry, right? Because the Jans just would never die.
Mm-hmm. Looks like ESO did go down for that game briefly, but it's back up, so that's good.
Yeah, they've been doing a good job of keeping the servers up.
Yeah, I remember there was a time, right, where sort of the whole community was afraid that the servers would never quite be what they were.
Yeah,
So.
they still aren't quite what they were, because some things still don't work, right? Like the servers will go off sometimes. I'm glad that they did fix that issue, though, where players couldn't see other players, because it was making people... I think a lot of people were probably going to quit if that didn't get fixed, just because they wouldn't have known, right?
Yeah,
Like the
you know,
average
especially
player
for a
logs in
newer.
and sees like 10 people on.
Yeah, it was really disheartening, especially because there seemed to be like two versions. So as the day would go on, everyone would just try to relog until they got onto the version with more people. So then the other one was just a barren wasteland.
Yep.
It wasn't even split like 50-50.
I didn't realize it. So you think there were like two different kind of like states, like two different like you know what I mean, pools
I
of
think
people?
so, and from like reading what other people have been thinking, that's sort of their thoughts too. But I mean, I don't know. You know, that's not anything I'm too knowledgeable about.
It makes sense to me.
So Yurashic will pick first on Bengal, but he's going to take a quick break. I don't know, what civs do you think do well on Bengal as a
This
as a
is
non-TV map?
Yeah, this is like your Brits, your like I guess port maybe, Brits, like I said, Russia, India, those kind of civs.
I wonder, how do you feel about Dutch?
That's true. I hadn't thought about Dutch. Dutch are also a great civ on this map. They're kind of the like the Portuguese or those more like the Brits, like those kind of more boomy civs.
Yeah.
Dutch fits in as that kind of civ for Bengal, right?
I don't know, I bring up Dutch because I feel like we haven't seen them in games lately, despite being one of the more proclaimed like OP civs on this patch, right? With the changes to bank experience given and bank cost. Um, I'd almost like to see them being played more.
Yeah,
So I don't
I
know.
like that observation too. Everyone has, there's been several people who say that Dutch are just flat out the best Civ, but we've only seen a few games of Dutch. I think Lord Raphael series was the only one, and I think it had a Dutch mirror. Other than that, I don't know what Dutch we've seen at all. But
Yeah.
maybe some from Jerome in an earlier series. That wouldn't surprise me.
We are up to 291 viewers, which is very nice here. You know, just another thank you to everyone watching for this ESOC Autumn Tournament. We have a whole lot of games left planned here for today and in the weeks upcoming. So, you know, just thanks for watching, for supporting the stream, and we hope we can give you guys some good games in the meantime.
Yep. And thanks as well for all the donations. I know you said that, but the donations really do keep the tournaments alive. You know, we have a large target that we try to hit every time, and we've done a pretty good job of making it there. And I'm seeing in the comments someone said that I said Jans don't do well versus us. They don't really, but it doesn't matter because, as I said, there's just like an attack move like turn off your brain synergy with Jan and Avis where Jans never die, and Avis can even just shoot at the Huss and do insane damage to them, so the Jans don't need to do well versus the Huss on their own.
Yeah, that was a pretty decisive Jan Avis victory there.
Yeah, I really didn't feel like Brit had much of a shot at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And China is another civ I forgot to mention on this map, and you know, it's going to be always viable on maps without TPs and always viable on maps with livestock.
And Dictator is choosing to immediately play France into this again, just like he did on the. Oh, sorry, he didn't play France into China before, but
Into Spain, yeah.
Yeah, into Spain. But I mean, still, it looks like he's very comfortable with France, and this is a non-TP map, which I think hinders their ability slightly. And I almost wonder if he'll sort of opt for more colonial play then. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I'm kind of worried for Dictator here. No TP France is kind of questionable. I think that France does have a slightly slower shipment speed than other civs, very slightly. That could just be me being wrong though. And obviously China doesn't really care too much about their shipments. They do, but they get them
Mm-hmm.
at a good enough speed without a TP.
And there is the livestock presence, which is always sort of favors China in that regard. And especially if Yurashic sort of knows this map and where they spawn, that can be quite a nice food boost when he needs it most when he hits Fortress.
He also has access to what does he have access to? He also has access to the tower, which gives him the 8 vills on age up, which is and being able to train vills in transition. So he kind of he's able to play this FF war into a more economic position than the France player can. France only being able to do maybe 4 vills, 700 wood as their most economic option for aging, but that doesn't provide all the vills that China's going to be getting.
Yeah, and I mean, just watching, it seems like we've seen a lot of China lately in this series, and I hadn't quite realized how good their economy actually is. Like you said, being able to train villagers and transition in that 8 villagers immediately upon age up is insane. And so even against civs like France, which do have a good economy with their good market upgrades and CDBs, you still see China sort of edging ahead in the recalculated economic calculator. And I mean, I think they're just a good civ, especially when they choose to FF and the other civ chooses to FF.
Yep. This elephant dying in a tragic position. One of the best parts about this map is that you can put vills on food, they never have to move. And you can potentially get them like just to literally not move at all in Colonial and just only gather food. It looks like Dictator is in a position to do that, actually, with the way his vills are kind of chopping wood. So we'll see if he's able to maybe get a little bit better elephant spread.
And you can even, I think there's 100 food treasure floating around this map. With that, you can age up a vill early, easy, just with no walking time.
Yep, no walking time plus the 100 food. You could do a 13 vill age up as France, or China, obviously, the earlier the better. China even usually eats its goat to be able to do 17 instead of 18 vills. So. But yeah, pretty quiet age 1. I don't know what you would say about this, but really not too much going on. No, this
yeah, he tried to steal it, right? He snuck it out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he may have just been trying to herd. He may have never even seen the treasure.
I think he went out maybe to herd and he saw the treasure, and I swear he kept going out there just a little bit further, and then came back. But I don't know.
Still this 90 wood out here, which I know he's going for right now.
Yeah, and there's still three water buffalo left on the map to be picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go for this 90 wood, and maybe the France Explorer can sort of, by chance, get there in time, but nah, I don't think so.
No, China's a little too fast.
Yeah, and he's going for this 30 XP.
90 wood. Not going to really do that much for Yurashic, actually. He's not going to be able to use that wood until about 8 minutes in. So really, it's it's nice to have, but it's not going to be as impactful as we would normally think of when we think of 90 wood.
Right, but I mean, it does also keep it out of France's hands, and it looks like Yurashic got 50 wood and 90 wood, and I believe that's all the wood treasures on the map.
Yeah, and the 50 would actually help them get a house faster, so that was quite nice. And there we go. The goat's being eaten, and he's on the 17 vill, so he's hoping to not have to queue that 18th vill before dropping the wonder, which will give him a much faster toggle on his age up. I think he might be able to do it. I'm not sure how far in that villager is into being created. Yeah, there goes the wonder. 17th vill still not out, and you can see he's got under food. He's getting the next vill, and he'll be idle. He won't idle at all. He got to kind of do that one vill earlier.
Yeah, that's a very nice trick, as you mentioned. Something that I didn't even really... I played China for a little bit, and that's sort of, I don't know, difficult to do maybe. So just get all the work out quite right.
That was something that Samwise 12 and I actually figured out to do that in on the fan patch 1.1 or 1.2 when China was really good. We were able to win games in the China mirror because we were aging a bill faster, and obviously that ramps everything faster for him. So it's kind of interesting how long that trick's been around. It kind of got forgotten for a while, I think, and then was rediscovered.
Yeah, no, that's really neat. I mean, the Age of Empires community is we're pretty small, and so things like that might get lost in time when the players disappear. But Yurashic is picking up a wounded tiger treasure, axe hilt, the tame tiger.
Maybe
So
more for the
that'll-
experience from the rhinos than from the tiger itself, right?
Yeah, no kidding. It's almost like half a TP shipment or something. But
look at the cow count. 5 cows. There's 6 cows. 5 cows for Dictator and only 1 cow for Yurashic. So China effectively playing this as a normal no TP map.
yeah, and we also see the early wall coming in from Yurashic's China that we always see. I actually like this one a lot. It closes off a huge gap. And we see another Sable, as no surprise, coming out from Dictator at this point.
And Arax, he's doing the Samwise build again.
I'd almost like to see this. I feel if you're going to do the Samwise build, you should have it at least farther up.
Yeah. Exactly. Both thinking the same thing.
It just, the distance on this map is pretty far, especially with this wall. I don't know if it's going to accomplish much.
It may be to his detriment. Muskets in general don't do very well versus this. The good news is Yurashic isn't scouting, and maybe what he can pull off here is kind of Yurashic goes for the tower, and when you go for the tower, you can actually timing attack the China player after they age. Like normally if they go for the other Wonder, the Skirm Wonder, you want timing them when they age so you can kill the 8 Skirms, but instead you can timing them when their first shipment comes in, and it's not even going to be as strong as the 8 Skirm kind of pop that's going on.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he does that. I mean, it looks like right now he's making units and then he's keeping them at base. So maybe he is sort of. Oh, now he's moving them. But I mean, yeah, I think that that sort of timing might be his best bet, where he just stays H2 and sort of masses this Musk-Huss sort of army, and then can just be able to cram it all in there. And the Explorer getting caught out of position here.
Yep.
I mean, it buys him a little time, but I think China would like to have this Explorer.
Yeah, more importantly, it removes a 1200 HP cover mode tank that builds dogs, right? It's like an insane unit to have lost. And in the past I've seen, though, it seems like it doesn't matter if Yurashic doesn't have that. Like the shipment's flood timing will just walk across the map and pick it up later, and it'll be fine. But we have to see market going down as well. It looks like a more economic approach from Yurashic this game, and he has completely closed off this top half. And the village is going to get up this time over here.
Right.
The question is, will Dictator go around the back and maybe get a free village kill here, or is he going to try to kind of go in on this other side that's not really, it's open there, but it's not. It's just a terrible angle to go through for him.
Yeah, and now we see the Summer Palace army hitting the floor, which will give him some nice defense behind these walls. And now suddenly these 10 Musketeers and 4 Hussar are not doing much of anything. And China's already up to H3.
They're not going to be able to do anything at all either. I mean, that whole wall's there, sure, but just with how slow everything is, like we said, if it was up here, maybe it comes a bit sooner. But at this point, he's just going to push in with those, and he's got to be able to affect some sort of damage here, whether that's reducing the military count of some sort or killing villagers. He just has to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, Gold Sentry's coming out now. I just don't know how much it'll do. And pretty soon, China's going to get a shipment, which I assume will probably be intervention. And but he's expelling this army just fine with sentries and 3 Chokanus and 3 pikemen.
Yeah, good micro by Dictator though. Only losing 1 Hussar here and a couple muskets. Still, this is kind of what we wanted to see. It's buying him time to age up, and it's thinning the army a little bit. And he's smartly, he's smartly getting out, right?
Yeah, those 2 Hussar have been idle for a long time, but like you said, it's smart to get out now, so it's not too much of a problem. And yeah, he did manage to have the China player dispel both sentry armies, so that could come into play later.
Yeah, and more importantly, it costs some resources too.
Yes, and now he's clicked up, so honestly that went pretty well for the France player.
Yeah, I think it did too. He lost maybe he made 10 muskets, so he lost. A lot of those are low HP, so I would say he probably lost like 7 or 8 muskets and 2 Hussar.
And there comes the intervention shipment.
The big problem is that those muskets, even though they're still alive, they don't really do much against China, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, muskets are just an awkward in H3. But I mean, France's eco is, well, I wanted to say it's quite good because he has steel traps and amalgamation, but I look at the recalculated economic position and the 8 villager tower is just working all in China's favor.
Yeah, and it doesn't recalculate your upgrades though, so
Okay.
we do have to keep that in mind. But all the tier 1 upgrades also in for China too, which are 5% each. So overall, probably pretty much equal ecos, maybe a slight lead for China. And that's not where you want to be though, because China also gets all these free things. They get free units out of the wonders, free consulate muskets, and obviously their unit shipments are stronger than yours.
Right. And you have to wonder what France's game plan here is. I see he ships 8 skirms as his first Fortress 8 shipment, but I wonder with such a long distance to rush on this map, and with China sort of walled off defensively, I wonder if you don't ship 1k wood as France and maybe establish a town center down here and just some more infrastructure.
Yeah, I think that could be totally feasible here, given the walling situation. And you're saying just kind of prepare for a later timing by booming a little bit harder now.
Yeah, it just seems that by the time you ship 8 skirms and march them over to China's base, he's going to have like a shipment and like a unit shipment made, and I don't know, it doesn't quite seem enough, but we'll see if he can work some magic.
I would have liked to see, this is a good poke, but I'd also like to see, he must have seen it somehow. Interesting. Barely on the edge, or maybe he's just moving to another hunt because he's out of hunt. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But either way, I want to see these cuirassiers be a surprise. I think hand cav in general do very well against China pre-Manchu, and like right now is a good time to have a lot of cuirassiers. I like this attack on the house actually. I think he might be able to just get it for free. And if you look at the housing situation, it's going to put Yurashic right on the edge. Although he did just get out the 6 muskets, and if a shipment comes out of the house, it would be bad. But yeah, looks like he snuck in there and got the house. Well done by Dictator, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a nice pickup.
Yep.
And oh, he might even be moving to the north of the map, where he might, at least put pressure on the bills and maybe get another house. We'll see how China responds to this.
It is going to
the military populations are dead even right now.
It is going to choke him into that corner, which is terrifying against China's army.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very susceptible.
He just got a shipment too. There's a shipment on the way. This is terrifying. If he doesn't get out of here, he might get popped on. Yeah, he's running. Okay. Whew.
Two Valks coming in for France. Dictator's been showing some good cannon micros, so we'll look to see those reap their maximum potential.
Everything that he's made has walked over that Explorer as well. So literally every single unit has been rallied over that, including the 2 Falcons somehow.
That's actually brutal. If Yurashic is paying attention, you can see exactly what's coming. And it almost seems like China's hit critical mass here. I don't know. 10 arcs come in. He's got the 6 consulate muskets.
The 5 meteor hammer. This is the fight where basically Yurashic just jams it in there and cleans the floor with it.
I don't think there's enough anti-cav here.
There's not enough units here. There's nothing you can do about it. Just jammed in there. What could you do?
Yeah.
And now we wait for France to get hard cleaned out and resign.
Oh, look at how many cavalry China has. That's insane.
Yeah, this was the worst time Dictator could have set up that push.
I mean, more dragoons coming, but he already lost that fight.
He's done a pretty good job on the retreat, though. The problem is just you don't want to ever have to take the fight from the beginning, right? He's doing a good job of not being lazy with his units, but gosh, that fight was just brutal for France.
Yeah. And, China is still, technically in economic advantage and also quite heavily in a military advantage as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, unfortunately for Dictator, the China player is almost out of food, but he just won that fight, so he's going to be free to kind of walk down here and hunt, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing is that's going to be a lot of walking distance. Maybe France can leverage something in the meantime.
Yep, maybe, and I think it's got to be. I guess it is more cuirassiers coming out. How many muskets do we have left here? It looks like there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's like 10 muskets left. That's a lot. And Manchu are sure to come as the next card. Maybe like 2 cards down the line, there'll probably be Manchu coming.
Yeah.
Maybe even 1, because what's going to happen is the hunt will run out and it'll naturally push towards the obvious Manchu transition. You can see already he's kind of overweighting in gold now. Tower's probably on gold. Yep, Manchu's the next card.
Yeah.
After Iron Troop. Yeah, he's just going to do the 2 mark shipments, and then
that's a great point.
It's going to be really hard for Dictator to deal with. He almost wants to fight, I don't know if he wants to fight now, or maybe not. Yeah, probably not. It's just a lot of units.
I mean, those Iron Troops are so deadly, especially now that the Falcons are taken care of.
Yeah, he's got to kite this. Oh, God.
Oh,
it's over.
no.
Unlucky.
He's...
You have to play so flawlessly against the China mass to have even a shot at it that just letting like 8 scrims get caught there might be enough.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not some great player, but every time I play China, I always play Colonial, at least to try to do something, to try to get a village or 2 or villagers, because I just don't feel comfortable playing against them in the Fortress Age. And look at that Explorer just taking those shots and covering them.
Yep.
That's insane. And Iron Troops they're like humans where it's like they don't even have a setup.
He's gotta go now. He's gotta go. He's got the Iron Troops right where he wants them. The Cuirassiers engaging. He's distracted by the Bills, and all the Iron Troop may go down to these Cuirassiers, which might be the turning point he needs. Where is the Cav going?
Oh my gosh! And those
so many Iron Troop dying.
So much damage on those.
He's set 9. He's only got 3 left. He's just lost 6 of those Iron Troops for
and
nothing.
And coming in, and Dictator's done it again. He's beating up the military populations. That was such a good engagement for him.
Yeah, and I think he could just take this fight.
So expensive.
He could just take this fight totally right now.
The
muskets.
The
muskets are very strong though. If you keep that in mind, they are like a little bit better than that. And the Cav just kind of cleaning up. I guess we have to take it back. The China Cav mass just too much.
Quite good.
Yeah, and now Manchu behind it.
Manchus. But
just doesn't matter what you do. It's too hard to outplay that mass.
Yeah, I mean Dictator's trying to hang on, but that's GG. And so there you have it. I mean, Yurashic is taking this best of 5 in the round of 32, 3 games to 1.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
exactly. I think Dictator maybe, like we said, he's not as knowledgeable maybe in Supremacy, and I think those unit control from Treaty definitely shined through in several of these games and kind of kept him in it.
Yeah, for sure. And even though he lost, I think we have to give him, props for that insane hold at the town center.
Yeah, that's definitely a highlight. That's definitely a highlight video moment for sure.
I want to see that on ESOC forums later today. That was pretty incredible. But nonetheless, let's see, what time is it? Okay, it looks like we have about 15 minutes till the next series.
I'm gonna toss the timer up then real quick.
Yep. And make sure you stay tuned for that. The next series is Kaiser Klein versus Tit. So, we're getting some great games here. We are already in the round of 32. Everything is going to be, pretty close games, pretty exciting, some high-profile names. So make sure you tune in for that.
Yes,
until
absolutely.
Then,
as Interjection would say.
Absolutely. So we'll see you then, or maybe 2 other casters will see you then. But either way, 15 minutes we'll get those games to you. So stay tuned.